Right, good evening, Speed Gaming. Welcome to the last of our SG Live qualifiers for a link to the past in Randomizer. My name is Tracy M. With me tonight is Spy Weaver. How are you doing, Spy?
Hey, I'm doing good here, sitting getting settled ready for this. What promises to be a pretty good race here, especially with the runs. Looks like we are showcasing this evening.
And this is the last race for all of them, so this is their last chance to get in. Some of these runners are on the bubble and need a good performance here. Others are pretty safe, but still would like to improve their seating.
Always one of those situations where either you're playing the numbers game with the seeds, trying to get yourself a better group, or you're sitting on the bubble, you want to make sure you get in, or it's just a matter of wanting to be safe, having that peace of mind of knowing that it's not really a question as to whether or not you will be in or not once we get to the main tournament here coming up very shortly.
Yeah, and Walter in particular, our runner on the bottom left, really needs to have a good performance here to get in. Let's see what I can find out about everybody else. Don't actually see anything from Chex. Chex might be just running this one for fun. We have on our bottom right, Rywek, I believe, is pretty safely in, estimated at about 20th. And let's see about Incoherent. Incoherent also on the bubble, 53rd estimated right now, so he needs a good finish as well. Oh, nice tree pull from Rywek, getting those big 20s. Walter doing the normally unconventional with those starting boots, immediate Saha check. Unfortunately, nothing there for him. I'll see what Rywek gets from the uncle. Just a piece of heart. And we do get the early hammer at Sanctuary. Rywek also gained just rupee, so nothing in the uncle area. And Incoherent's going to give us our look at the Lumberjack. You're going to see more runners check this right away in a guaranteed boot seed. Just because it is, commonly runners will skip this early and not check it until they have those boots. Here, you're going to have boots, so, might as well just check it right away.
With those boots in hand, it's not like it really takes too long for you to dash up there and get that check out of the way. Sometimes knowledge can be very powerful depending on what you do find. Taking a quick map check here down as well on Chex' side. Looks like we have found that all 3 of our Light World dungeons are crystals today.
Also, Blue Cane in the Lost Woods, which is, not really a needed item. Does eventually put Spike Cave in logic, but it is kind of a nice luxury and will help them in the blind fight if they have to do that on low hearts.
A lot of things a lot easier. Making sure you get things taken care of and don't have any questions whether or not you'll finish it or not.
Okay, Incoherent and Chex getting into Kekriko at about the same time. And neither one with any bombs, so they're going to check the back of the tavern first, hoping to get some bombs there. And if not, they'll use some money to buy some, most likely. And there it is. Get our first bombs. They might still end up buying some after they get through these checks, though. And just a big 20 at the bottle vendor. Just a heart piece in the chicken hut. Incoherent, the first one into Blind's hut. A big 20. A heart container. Piece of heart. And 100 rupees. So, really not a lot. Meanwhile, Check's going to show us, oh, there's an item, the mirror, in the well. A sword. Oh, the well being very nice. I'm not entirely sure why Rywek went into the... oh, he's farming bombs. Okay. Moonfro also in the well.
Rocks.
Yeah, those bonk rocks will always give you a bomb.
A little bit of game knowledge, something to just keep in mind when you're heading that way, and you do have the boots in tow and no bombs yet.
Yep.
Pop right on into the fortune teller. You'll refresh those rocks and you can get yourself another single bomb
You don't
drop.
see that fortune teller check very often in non-entrance seeds. And pretty much our value in Kakarika all came out of the well with that sword, that moon pearl, and that mirror.
Nice when you're not looking around for a sword for too long, especially when you have the boot starts. You just kind of start dashing around with reckless abandon and not really worried too much about what's in front of you.
Yeah, boots without sword is really not a comfy feeling. You can't run into things and take a lot of damage that way if you're not careful.
You even have to dodge all the bushes that you can find too. You can't really dash right through those.
That's right. Yeah, and for those in chat talking about, yeah, open boots versus casual boots. Casual boots is, oh, and we have a glove. So we already have Dark World access. Less than 5 minutes in. Oh my god. But to get back to my point.
A speedy one.
Yeah. To get back to my point, casual boots is when you do a standard start. So going through the castle and rescuing Zelda. This is an open start, so you don't get a sword. We'll see if anybody does an early Dark World check.
Opting for the S and Q, might be seeing, yep, it's going to be the back of escape here since we did pick those gloves up.
Yeah, I like the play to do back of escape before even considering doing front. That way you know, have a better idea whether you're going to need to do Dark Cross. Also interesting with that mirror, they can do a whole lot of the West Dark World right now if they want to, and pair it in with a lot of these checks if they feel like it.
X found the bolt coin back there. Still no map, still no key. Outstanding. Might not have to do Dark Cross depending on what we find in the front if we ever get up there.
Alright, so Check's gonna go ahead and do the dam area. Nope, he's going straight to Mini Moldorm.
Map check for Incoherent, 5-6 on Misery Mire and Pod. We have Swamp as a pendant, TR as a pendant, and Skull Woods is our green pendant this evening.
Yeah, the Swamp Palace pendant is always a scary one for me as a non-hoverer. This could be a hover seed. I don't know which of our runners here have that ability, so that could be a storyline coming up.
It could be the good old-fashioned hook shot on right side of GT as well. That's always fun.
It looks like Mini Moldorm Cave didn't really have a whole lot. Incoherent, meanwhile, going straight into Skull Woods. So we're getting a little bit of route divergence here. This is one of those things, some runners just like to go straight to Skull Woods as soon as they have access to it. Figuring that they can get some pretty easy checks in. Problem is, of course, that you could just find all dungeon items, as we see a compass on Incoherent screen. A little surprised he's not going to steal the key to check the front area and not have to worry about falling in the holes. Meanwhile, going to get our first look at Hype Cave on Rywek's side. A bottle with blue in is really nice. I think that's our first bottle. And Canis Samaria, that's a really important item. Can't imagine anybody's missing Hype Cave. Meanwhile, Walter looks like he's going to farm for some money. He must want to do the early Zora check. Yeah, and it gets him to 505, so... with boots, they can do the early... you can do Zora pretty much for free with the Water Walk. Don't really want to do it unless you're actually going to do the whole thing.
Check's up there. Check's Waterfall Fair. We found Bombos in there.
Yeah, could be required. Might be one of our last crystal dungeons, or our TR, or well, TR. Hopefully they don't have to go into. Could be needed for Mire. Could be needed for Ice Palace if we don't find a Fire Rod before then. Oh, and an interesting note about that Fire Rod. Oh, and a hook shot on the hobo. Very nice find from Chex. That hobo location, a very interesting one yesterday in the qualifier, where there was a sword there And 2 of our runners on stream did not find that sword right away. One didn't get it at all, and the other one got it as their master sword after they finished GT.
This is also interesting. Rywek goes in the dam and pulls out the flute. I don't think any of our other runners have actually been inside there yet.
I wonder if the others are going for the dream of the do the dam at the same time as swamp. Of course, with swamp being a pendant, that's maybe less of an ideal thing. Okay, I believe Chex has a store. Oh, he did have a stored water walk, and he just went onto the land, so that may not be there anymore for him. Yep, not going to be there anymore for him. But it's only arrows on the Zora ledge, so he doesn't care. Meanwhile, checking out Village of Outcasts. We'll see if he wants to do Thieves Town. But yeah, I don't think I quite finished my thought. With Skull Woods and Turtle Rock pendant dungeons, we might not actually see that Fire Rod. Especially with that Bombos medallion available for Ice Palace. And even though we did get it out of logic, the flippers do have to show up because Ice Palace is a crystal. And even though, don't be surprised if these runners decide to do it without the flippers, especially if the flippers are in a really bad spot. Logically speaking, the flippers do need to be available.
Always that possibility, since Swamp is a pendant, we might not actually see those flippers.
No, we might not see them, but yeah, they have to be around. They have to be available.
Somewhere.
They won't be in GT, yeah. But if there's someplace really bad, like Turtle Rock or something, yeah, the runners will skip them. Because, you know, flippers in Turtle Rock never happens.
Anything in Turtle Rock ever happens.
Yeah, we wish, right? Doesn't even matter whether it's a pendant. It doesn't even matter if it's a pendant or a crystal. It's just things in Turtle Rock, just not yet.
If it's pendant, it definitely has progression, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Okay, Incoherent finds some half magic as the first runner into Thieves Town. So that's a nice luxury item. I think shortly we're going to have a whole bunch of runners in Thieves Town here. Makes sense. It's a crystal dungeon. It's full clearable. We don't have the best loadout for it. Still on green mail, but a decent number of hearts. And that blue cane for the extra safety on the blind fight in case they get off script.
That coupled with the fact that half magic's sitting right in there shouldn't be too much of a problem for any of our runners here today.
Oh yeah, that half magic, if you want to use that blue cane, basically makes that fight free. If you have full magic. And which you will if you pick up the half magic, so that'll be really good for everyone. Checks are doing a little bit different. Gonna decide to check Agina's cave. And a blue boomerang. Which is nice, but not quite what he's looking for.
I also found a book here inside of Thieves Town.
Well, that book will open up Desert Palace. Also open up those tablets. Might not see any of our runners go to follow that book right away, at least not into Desert. Since they already have flute and gloves, they may try and wait for, and a mirror, they might try and wait for those mitts so they can pair it with Misery Mire.
Do need a fire source to light those torches in the back for Desert as well.
Yep, not quite there yet.
That's the one thing that I was always questioning, is why Bombos cannot light torches.
Yeah, wouldn't that be convenient?
But yet a lamp can.
Yeah. Okay, map in the Maiden Cell. Not sure we found anything of note aside from that half magic in the book in Thieves Town yet. And Chex also still deciding to do different things. Is going to check some of Death Mountain. Finds rupees on the top of Spectacle Rock, and something blue inside the cave. Maybe in the flippers. I actually couldn't see very well.
Flippers or
must be
a bottle
flippers.
with blue goo, maybe.
No, I suspect they gotta be flippers. I don't think you could go this far. Well, I don't think he hasn't been in Hive Cave yet, so maybe. But
It is the
let's see.
flippers.
It is the flippers. Which honestly, with Swamp being a pendant dungeon, I don't know that I really. Yeah, I wouldn't be the one to. Wouldn't really want to see the flippers. Checking out the hint tile, but hints are turned off, so that's not gonna do him any good.
Especially in this situation where that is basically your Swamp care package now. You got the mirror, you have the hammer, the flippers, the hook shot.
Yeah, we'll see if any of our restreamed runners get sucked into Swamp Palace. It's one of those things. There are runners that will if they have everything they need for Swamp, they're gonna do it because they're gonna figure there's gonna be some sort of progression there. And there's very well could be.
And I literally think we blinked and missed it. I think
I didn't.
Actually took down Blind and got the powder off of him there.
I was wondering where you got that powder. Yeah, look.
And there's our fire rod.
Oh wow. Meanwhile, Check's finding a bow in the bottom top, whatever, in the 2 chest part of Paradox Cave. I usually think of that as the bottom, but I know there's others that will go the other way.
Bottom just makes the most sense for me too.
I mean, the stairs go up from there, so I'm gonna call it the bottom.
Oh, that's going on. Randomizer on top left takes down Blind as well.
So the powder must have been somewhere else in Thieves Town.
Must be close then, but that was not the powder off of Blind, but Blind does get taken down.
Very nicely done by Randomizer. Oh, it looks like another sword over there in the digging game. So collectively, we're not missing a whole lot here. Incoherent still needs to get his flute. We may need a Quake medallion before it's all said and done. We don't know what the Misery Mire medallion is yet. We don't need an ice rod. At least we hope we don't need an ice rod. But we do need those Titan's mitts. Okay, right about getting that sword. Now, let's see if what is Check's gonna do next? Looks like he's got his flute out. He could go up and do Hera right now. He's choosing not to. I would have had to do so from the from the west side of the mountain, because he has not. Oh, he does have that hook shot. He could have done it from. And that hammer. He could have gone straight there if he wanted to. But it looks like he wants to do eastern instead. Follow that bow. Little surprised though that Chex doesn't at least enter this from the Dark World with the mirror, because he could full clear Pod and Eastern right now. It doesn't have a fire source, so he'd have to do the dark rooms.
We're sitting here sub 20 minutes, and it looks like we just need a glove and possibly another coin, and then from our standpoint, we know everything that we need for this.
Yeah, we're really close to no mode.
Not me when this sounds familiar. We're sitting here hunting for one item for the next half an hour or so.
Well, the gloves, the mitts will gate a lot of things, so that's not too bad a go mode item. If it turns out that Misery Mire is a Quake for entry, and we haven't found it before we go there, that is almost as bad as an Ice Rod hunt. Not quite, because you know you're not going to actually go into Mire to find it, but not the best either.
Yeah, it still doesn't feel good. It's one of those.
No, not at all.
A little painful.
And it looks like Incoherent is going to take that book into Desert Palace. The nice thing here is he can just do the front of Desert. Actually, he can do the whole thing because he's got that fire rod. So he probably just doesn't finish. Probably will finish it off unless he may decide not to do Landmo if he finds the 2 items beforehand and just route that in with the Mire play. We see Rywek getting a small shield from the old man. We'll see if Rywek decides to do Tower of Para at this point. Doesn't have a fire source, so may not want to take a chance that there's an item in the basement. Will get his flippers here, though. Yep, is going to pick those up. We see a red potion sitting there at the big key chest in Eastern. As Walter finishes up the blind fight.
Second sin, that is the first crystal for Walter, bringing him in line with Rywek. Who did also grab the line crystal while they were there. X using some arrows as well to help them navigate themselves through these dark rooms. Back of Eastern Palace without too many issues.
Yeah, that's one of the harder dark rooms in the game to do without any kind of fire source. So very well done from Chex.
Two enemies, they all can move randomly at different places, and next thing you know, you're getting hit by one and pushed to the opposite side of the room. You have no idea what's going
Absolutely.
on.
Of course, if I'm not mistaken, Chex does a lot of the vanilla categories, and vanilla may be not the right word. He does a lot of the glitchy categories. Of course, we can't use most of those here. Okay, Rywek can be our first runner into Hera.
On a change of clothes as well on the Eastern tablet up there for Rywek.
That'll be nice. Chex finishing up the Armos Knights. Gets his first crystal. And Incoherent is going to go ahead and finish up Desert Palace.
Yeah, you're in the area, you got Fire Rod and Half Magic. Yeah, dash to the back shouldn't be too bad.
No, not bad at all. Rywek not having that hookshot does not have the option to do the Hera pot trick. We see bombs, and I'm gonna guess that is our second item because he's not checking the big chest. Oh, well, he might be falling down to get the big chest. Let's see what he does here.
Yeah, the big 20
nope, going straight. Yeah,
basement there.
There we go. So that is a very nice Tower of Hera. If our runners with hookshot choose to Hera pot this one, they're not going to be missing out on anything.
That's
and a mushroom.
Go here and picking that mushroom.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
Always nice to at least get that after the powder, so he doesn't have to think about fake powdering at all, and just go ahead and turn that in.
Do I save it? Don't I save it? What do I do? Coherent pulling that crystal out of Desert Palace. Meanwhile, Rywek taking down Moldorm for their second crystal.
And he's going to go check the rest of East Death Mountain as well. We'll get a bow out of that. We have not seen a lamp yet, so this could end up being a lampless seed. Granted, of course, logically speaking, that cannot happen. It has to be available somewhere. But it could be in a bad enough spot the runners will just never get to it. Incoherent with the 22-minute mini Moldorm check, although that's not nearly as bad as we had yesterday from Kern, who gave us the 42-minute mini Moldorm check.
I think we even had one along those lines a couple qualifiers ago where we had a go mode chest game in Village of Outcasts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, was that the ice rod in the chess game? Yeah, I think I remember that one.
Yeah, I think it was like over an hour into when people finally made their way there.
Oh, wow. Yep. Okay, checks the last one into Thieves Town. And Walter making the Swamp Palace play. Unless he's just doing the dam here. Or maybe he's doing both. Let's see. No. Oh, he's got the mirror portal. You going in there, Walter? Nope. Just the 23, you know, your average 23, 24 minute dam play. And Walter, yeah, good point from one of our trackers, StereoX. Walter has not picked up the flipper, so he couldn't even do the Swamp Palace play if he wanted to.
He could walk in and look longingly there at the body of water separating them.
Yeah, and speaking of that, shout-outs to our trackers, StereoX and Duo, for doing the hard work behind the scenes, pushing those buttons. And Rywek looks like he's headed towards Pod.
I think Rywek's going to be following that bow. He's got the mirror out. This could be the combo EP pod play right here.
Yep, this is what I like to see. The Pod Eastern play put together. Chex decided to just do Eastern, a little bit surprised he didn't also do Pod at the same time. So Rywek, I'm going to check Saha at the same time. He hasn't seen this. We've seen this. There's nothing here. Nothing of note here. Incoherent may be deciding to do the same thing, but is going to check the pyramid ledge first.
Will be our first look over here at the ledge for a whole fairy in a bottle.
And Incoherent decides that's not worth the trouble of getting. A little surprised he doesn't seem to have a bottle yet. Rywek, meanwhile, heading into, let's see if he's going to head into Pod or he can do Eastern. No, he's going to do Eastern first. I did want to point out that he did have to wait an extra second there in the hedge maze there because if you try and leave while you still have iframes from that mirror portal, Kiki the monkey will not follow you, so you have to wait a second for those to go away. And at the moment, our runners pretty much all following in each other's footsteps. Some of the interesting storylines we're seeing here is we have 2 runners with the hookshot they found at the hobo, 2 runners without. So it'll be interesting to see if Incoherent Rywek find that hookshot. We don't know yet whether it's going to be required because Swamp Palace is a pendant dungeon. So really, unless there's something required in the back of Swamp Palace, it would not be hard required. Do not know if Incoherent or Rywek are hoverers, so whether they'll be searching for that hookshot or not.
Speaking of Incoherent, we're getting our first look at the front of Escape, the good old-fashioned 26-minute escape sequence up here.
Yep. Not too unusual. Perhaps doing this before...
Don't see a key.
Yeah, if we don't see a key yet, that means the key has to be on Dark Cross because we did not see one. Oh, there are the mitts!
Whoa.
That is a no mode.
Oh boy!
Wow, it might be. Wow. Okay, not quite no mode yet. Our no mode is going to be the medallion of Misery Mire, yes, or Finding Quake, either one.
That's definitely a pull there.
Absolutely. Like Escape, when you haven't done it yet, is just not something you want to do. It's kind of that extra pendant dungeon. Good news for
and a lamp. That means that Dark Cross has a key.
Yep. Well, the key had to be in Dark Cross once it wasn't in the first chest because we didn't see it earlier. Lamp kind of vanilla. So if you've played the game casually, you'll know that the lamp is actually in the very first chest in Link's house. But if you don't grab that lamp, the game really wants to give you a lamp. So there are a couple other places it can be. In a typical NMG speedrun, that is the chest you pick up the lamp in. It's just a little bit faster by, I don't know how much faster, but I don't even think it's probably less than a second, to be honest. But enough to make a difference. And Incoherent also going to do an interesting play, going to go check the catfish. Or maybe going to turn in his mushroom first. Yeah, this is the turn in the mushroom play. Gonna step back into the portal in a way that he'll immediately mirror back. And just get 20 rupees for his trouble.
You went all this way. I am gonna pick up those 20 rupees regardless. It looks
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
we're going over to Catfish as well after that.
Yeah, this is a good. I like the routing pairing these two things together.
Both kind of out of the way. Anytime you can put checks like this together that are a little out of the way, it makes it a little less painful.
I don't recall whether Incoherent has been in the Zora area already. It doesn't have flippers to make it convenient to do it now, other than the actual Zora item itself.
Catfish giving us bombs, and up there in the top left, Ryuk taking down Armos Knights for their third crystal of the evening.
So yeah, new storyline now with Incoherent finding those mitts in the escape. How long is it going to take these other runners to get there? Incoherent's first mitts check is going to be the King's Tomb here. And Ryuk going to show us our first look at Pod. So far, Pod not bow locked. Though we have the bow, so it doesn't really matter. So potentially, if some of these runners end up in Mitts Go mode, probably not going to get that lamp, because they'll get those mitts, they'll mirror right on out of the escape and not continue on to Zelda Cell. None of these runners necessarily need the lamp. As long as they have a fire source, they can get through. They can get completely through the game. But it definitely is a nice item to have in some of those dark rooms. And Chex also joining Ryuk and Pod. And we're still not bow locked. There's that big key. Meanwhile, we have Walter going up Death Mountain. And Incoherent back into Kakariko Village. Let's see where he heads. Oh, just got that flute. Hasn't activated yet, so he's going to do that now.
Walter doing a little bit of a double take there to make sure that he saw the boots sitting up on top of that cave.
Or the flippers.
Flippers, yes, the other footwear.
Yeah, well, all the footwear is important here, but we got boots already, so yeah.
Happens when you're thinking one thing and say another.
Okay, Incoherent looks like he's gonna go into the dark world. A little surprised he doesn't like those mitts might lead him astray a bit. He has crystal dungeons that he can full clear, so a little bit surprised that he's doing other checks before he follows some of those crystal dungeons. He can full clear. I mean, he's got the coziest pod. He can full clear Pod and Eastern in logic. Not going there. Hera's a possibility as well. Could go into ice. And do that pretty much could do any of the dungeons. So a little surprised he is looking. What is he looking? He's looking for a hook shot at this point. Not gonna find it in Skull Woods, but he's a hook shot and he's a hook shot and a bow away from go mode. And that would be why he's not going to Pod Eastern.
Skull Woods being the green pendant.
Yeah, I don't like this play. Since he doesn't have the bow, it means he hasn't been up the mountain. And there's so many checks there. This is going to give him, I don't know if we found at least one item here, I believe. This will give him at least the green pendant and maybe one more item. Whereas the mountain has a ton of items plus a crystal dungeon that he can clear right now in Tower of Hera.
I believe that powder was actually in the front of Woods.
Ah, that's where that was.
But as to that fire route, which gave us X to the back, could be trying to follow that little bit of a logic train.
Yeah, very possibly. At this point, the only thing that he could find that could be required is that Quake medallion. And speaking of that Quake medallion, we still haven't seen the Mire area. And one of the things I like to do once I have flute and mitts is find out what my medallion requirements are. What do I actually need? Oh, an Incoherent taking a death. I don't think he has the fairy. I think he might have even turned down the fairy sitting there on the pyramid ledge. That is unfortunate.
Took a look at it, decided to go. Did have that blue goo, but unfortunately didn't use that either.
And he's using it now because he needs it for the magic.
Now it's almost to the point, if you're in an incoherent spot, that you feel like you're married to this play, you have to go ahead and make it regardless. So
yeah, to answer the question in chat, we've just seen the one bow. There's one in East Death Mountain. Okay, not sure we found anything useful in Pod, but you know, we'll get it finished up now. Checks and Rye, we're gonna clear it up. Neither one has any kind of light source. So we'll have to do this completely in the dark. And Dark Turtle's not a fun room, but these runners are experienced enough to do it.
still not playing too nice or incoherent here, staying near the top on those spikes. There we go. Finally gets Mothula down, and we get the map.
But that all-important green pendant.
Take a look at that bridge chest. Walther, meanwhile, does have that hook shot in Hera. Gonna be giving us a look at the Herapot.
There we go. And Rywek fighting Helmasaur. Chex will be joining him shortly. Looks like Chex is in the turtle room.
Now there's differences there. 17 strikes to the face with that hammer to break the mask. And a couple slashes to the face, your arrows, whichever your preference.
Okay, Chex uses that red bottle to get through the turtle room. Rywek finishes off Helmasaur. Let's see if there's anything here. And just the red mail, nice luxury item. Incoherent, gonna give us a ped check.
Just couch
cash.
On there, Walther down, meanwhile taking out Moldorm, third crystal.
Okay, now we're gonna get the Mire area check, so we'll find out for sure whether we are in that no mode range for viewers and commentators.
They says,
yeah, that was really quick.
Not sure.
Did anyone catch that? Because I didn't. Oh, a few people in chat are saying Quake, so we are going to be on a Quake hunt. Rywek, meanwhile, going to get his hook shot. And Walter checking out Spike Cave. And just gets 10 hours for his trouble. And checkerboard with just 20 rupees. Okay, Rywek heading over possibly to do his flipper checks.
I did just go ahead and check that back. It does look like, in fact, Misery Mire is Quake.
That we are not in no mode, we are in Quake mode.
That'll sure shake things up here a little bit for our runners.
Yeah, and our chat making a very good point. Now, Incoherent going out of his way to get that green pendant and not turning it in right away. That's kind of what I would expect a runner to do if you're going to make that play. Go ahead and just turn in that green pendant right away, see if it actually pays off, especially with that flute. It's just not hard to get there.
Could be hoping to find Bo before making their way over there, which know is up here on the mountains, so this will work.
Will do that. Yeah, I see someone in chat calling for Quake on Try Next. Hopefully not, because then we have an Ice Rod on our hands. No one wants to see that Ice Rod. But
And that's just being a little too rude.
Absolutely. Wouldn't be surprised though if Swamp Palace comes into play before this is all over. We do have all the items needed to get in there. And Incoherent might also give us a look at the Dark Death Mountain, since he is the only one with those mitts.
As you say that, I can't help but wonder if that's where Ryrok might be heading, is over to Swamp Palace.
It sure looks that way. Meanwhile, Check's heading over to the Hyrule Castle, so he'll get his mitts soon. And Chex will also get that lamp, because he's not. He's pretty close, but yeah, he might actually dip out of here and count on the Misery Mire location not being Quake, so he may not get that lamp. Interesting to see what he chooses to do after he gets the mitts here. I'm gonna follow Rywak right now. I'm gonna see what Swamp Palace has to offer. Interesting choice to do this over Hyrule.
No.
Oh my god, right on the doorstep. But he's still gonna continue, because he needs a fire source, and yeah, and he still needs those bits, so he's gonna keep on going. Probably gonna full clear this dungeon.
That is almost literally the worst location that Quake could have been in for Rywak at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually, he doesn't even know he needs it yet, but you know, he now knows he's okay for medallions. Everybody else, well, maybe not everybody else, but certainly when Incoherent gets there, that will be his go mode. And Chex is going to go ahead and finish up this dungeon, get that lamp. He hasn't gotten the fire rod yet, so he may not get the fire rod.
Also, another good point, that fire rod sitting on Magic Bat, which I believe the powder was off of the Skullwood's big chest. Might not be seeing that one.
That could come back to bite Chex if the big key in Ganon's Tower is on the right side. However, you can sequence break that with a bomb jump, and it wouldn't surprise me if Chex knows how to do that. So if we do get a right side Ganon's Tower big key, we might see that bomb jump from Chex Human.
Almost add insult to injury here from our standpoint. Rywak's going left side swamp as well.
Yeah, you see this play a lot more often now that the Diver Down strat is with us. So you might think he's flooded the key, but what he's going to do is he's going to lay a bomb at the... Yeah, there we go. There's that bomb. He's going to lay it. He's going to leave the room right as the bomb is exploding. Well, he needs to leave a little bit earlier than that.
You need to leave when you see it explode, but before
That's
it actually hits the switch, just like that.
There you go. Now he's going to do the Diver Down strat that maybe you've probably seen done both here and later on in the dungeon.
Makes the left side swamp play not as bad, but...
It's still pretty bad, but yeah, definitely not as bad.
Especially in this seed with the Quake being where it's at, and us from our standpoint knowing that's probably going to be more than likely everybody else's go mode here.
Maybe Rywak will get an extra sword out of this, or silver arrows. At this point, those are the things that would help him the most. Because we know the worst thing would be to find something like an ice rod.
Oof.
Although I doubt that by itself would put him into Turtle Rock, since he doesn't have the fire rod either.
Or those mitts. Oh my goodness.
Oh, he does get a sword!
Oh, wow.
Oh my god. Well, Swamp is known for having swords, so why not? Also, a nice big key location if you're going to do the left side first. Meanwhile, Incoherent's going to do the Basement of Hera. I'm pretty certain we saw both items here, so...
Pretty sure that key was farther up too.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought the key was on Moldorm, so maybe I missed it. There wasn't... Maybe the second item wasn't found. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, it is just the map, so I'm not entirely sure if Incoherent just didn't count his items correctly. I guess that's what happened.
Could have been a miscount there on Incoherence.
Yeah, it happens. Rarok showing the other diver down location. Gets a piece of heart and a map. Meow checks human in Desert Palace. Walter in the dark.
Looks committed going all the way here, it looks like. Walther on their Helmasaur King fight.
I think after this, Rywok's not going to have much left other than Skullwoods and the escape. We'll see which one he does first.
Almost imagine we might see an escape. We could see... Yeah, I would imagine it'd be an escape for Rywok after this.
It's going to be interesting because I think he's only going to get one fire source. Because if he does Skullwoods first, he's going to get that fire rod off the powder. If he does escape first, he's going to get that lamp and the mitts, and that will put him in a go mode. So long as he is either comfortable doing the bomb jump in the side of Ganon's tower, or he's just going to hope that he doesn't have to. Swamp did get him a sword, though, and not knowing where the fourth sword is, he might end up being the only one not on Master Sword Ganon, so that could be a small advantage. Looks like he has some Dark Bolt checks that he hasn't done yet, or I should say mirror checks.
Down in the bottom right, checks human taking down whole animals for their fourth crystal of the evening.
Alright, Incoherent. Gonna finish. Okay, we're gonna see some new checks here. We're gonna see the Dark Death Mountain area. He's missing that Quake medallion. Not gonna find it here, though.
Oh, this could be all...
Yeah, if TR is anything, in Incoherent's case, if it's Ether, he maybe goes into it, and he's got that fire rod, so he can go all the way to the back. If it's Balbos, we won't see it. If it's Quake, then we're safe, because that's his go mode, so we won't ever have to worry about entering TR. So far, nothing in Super Bunny Cave. Yeah, let's see what's... Oh, an Incoherent. Still without that hook shot. Still hasn't gone to the hobo.
TR is Bombo, so that saves potentially a little bit of time there. Doesn't even have to think about going inside of TR.
Not at the moment he doesn't, but if he finds that Bombos, he might change his mind. Okay, we're going to get at least one check here in the hookshot cave. And just a single arrow. And Incoherent telling us he does either cannot or does not want to hover. Will not check the rest of it. That hook shot, for those of you that maybe came in late, is sitting there under the bridge at the hobo. Incoherent with those slippers could go get them anytime he wants. Looks like he's gonna...
Giving us our first look here at Ice Palace as well. Big key there in the first chest. Continue.
Yeah, the big key in the first chest is nice with the icebreaker. It gives you a... Right, so ever since Icebreaker came out, there's the debate whether to hit the switch or not hit the switch. The thing that can burn you if you don't hit the switch is if that big key is sitting there in iced tea and you get all the items before that. Chex Human decides he is going to go ahead and hit that switch. However, if he does have to get an item in the iced tea room, he is going to be slower to get there. Or he could do some bomb jumps to make it a little bit easier.
Got one single key left there in the Freezer room.
Oh, and Incoherent finally turning in that green pendant just for $50. He'll no doubt do the Pod Eastern play now, and then we'll see if he gets to some of those flippers checks to pick up his hookshot and his Quake medallion. It looks like Rywek's going to head over towards Spike Cave. So showing us that there are a few things besides Skullwoods and Escape to do.
A few, I guess. One for the out-of-the-way locations, hoping to leave something behind. Walther does here after taking down Armos Knights. Looks like Walther might actually be making the play into Swamp before making the front of Escape here.
If he does that, that'll give him his Quake. He doesn't know he needs it yet, so he may also full clear this. Looking for. Let's see. At this point, what is he looking for? He's looking for those myths, and he's not going to find them here.
Story of this one pretty much has been fast and quick right off the bat, but then we're looking for both either the mitts and that Quake medallion, or Misery Mire access.
Looks like Rywek's going to go ahead and check Skullwoods. That should lead him to his Fire Rod.
He just housing a blue rupee for us today down there on Chex' side. At this point, it looks like it'll come down to if our left side will make the play into Front of Escape first, or if our right side will make the play into Swamp Palace first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Walther picks up that Quake medallion.
Which, again, he doesn't know he needs it. He doesn't know that there... Well, he should get a Tempered Sword out of this, at least. So that'll help him out a little bit. Meanwhile, checks into the Cold Stare fight. Without that Fire Rod, he'll have to use Bombos here.
Job pinning two of those puffs for an extended period of time. A lot harder than it looks there, especially with the Master Sword in hand.
Yeah, and also not having a Fire Rod to help you out here.
Definitely the reason the vanilla game, they give you the blue mail here in this dungeon, because
yeah, absolutely.
Cold Stare hurts. Not too many issues there for Chex, taking down Cold Stare. That is crystal number 5 on their side.
Rywek gets that powder. We'll probably follow it right to the Fire Rod.
We are in fact heading down to the Magic Pad on Rywek's side. Chex is heading up the mountain towards Hera.
Yeah, this actually could be really bad for Chex. He will do Hera, but he's probably going to do the Dark Death Mountain checks. He's got that Bombo, so he may be sucked into Turtle Rock.
Fortunately for him, I don't believe Chex has the Fire Rod, so potentially we might not be able to get too far.
Yep. Without the Fire Rod, there's a good chance you get gated immediately. It is also possible to get all the way down through Laser Bridge. So, yep. Things can happen.
Yar could either be very nice or very mean, leading you on that long.
Absolutely. Okay, Rywek, meanwhile, gets his Fire Rod. So not a whole lot left for him to check. Where are you headed, Rywek?
Back into Skull Woods, it looks like.
Now, definitely back into the Dark World.
Northern Dark World checks here. This will probably be our bumper Graveyard Ledge, King's
Yeah,
Tomb
absolutely.
area.
Walter, in the meantime, did get his tempered sword over on the left side of Swamp, and we'll head to the back. So essentially all our runners kind of doing stuff that the other runners have done.
Basically boiling down to we need Quake out of Swamp Palace for our 2 right side runners. Then need the Mitts out the left side runners. With that though, looks like Chex takes down Moldorm for their 6th crystal. They're just looking for that Quake medallion.
All he
And
needs.
head off into Misery Mire.
Let's see. Probably gonna check again. Gonna check this Dark Death Mountain area first. We have not seen Hookshot Cave yet, other than the first chest. So we will get a 3 new checks from Chex. Rywek, meanwhile, looks like he's gonna head over towards the Catfish. Walter, meanwhile, gonna take down Argus. Okay, Rywek heading towards the pyramid. Probably gonna check that pyramid ledge, and very possibly will go ahead and mirror there to get the escape check.
Close over here. This is what they need to be doing.
Walter thinking about saving and quitting out of the end of the Swamp Palace fight before picking up that pendant. But I don't believe he's checked Ped yet, so maybe thought better of it. Okay, there we go. Rywek's going to be in go mode shortly. He'll pick up that Quake medallion. We'll leave after that. Is not going to get that lamp, so he'll have to continue to do dark rooms. But Rywek, a very experienced runner, should have no trouble with that. Meanwhile, we're going to see all of Hookshot Cave from Chex.
Listen too much. Oh,
Chex getting some silver arrows, so that's a nice find for him.
That could be very handy depending on, well, especially since we won't see Chex going all the way down into Swamp Palace to get that tempered sword.
Yep, that'll be a big time save if he's stuck, especially if he's stuck on Master Sword only. Well, in particular, big time save then. Rywek gets his mitts. And mirrors right on now, just as expected. Will not be getting that lamp today.
There we have it. 56 minutes, about 45 seconds in. Rywek is the first of our restream runners to hit the go mode.
It looks like Walter's going to follow him shortly because he's headed in the Uncle area. Looks like he's going to head over to Escape right now. We'll also likely mirror out after he finds those mitts. Rywek heading straight over to Ice Palace. And we'll go mode this dungeon.
Definitely another one of those that always feels good whenever you can go mode the dungeon.
Absolutely. Although it doesn't make as big a difference as it used to with the Icebreaker. It used to be a huge difference, go mode versus not go mode, when you just did the Ice Palace bomb jump to get through. The Icebreaker doesn't save a ton of time in go mode. Does save a little bit. Yeah,
It just feels good.
Yeah, Rywek not even checking the first room, no surprise.
Still looking for that Quake medallion. Chex looks like they're making their way over towards the Swamp Palace area. Should be getting their Quake medallion here very shortly.
All right, Walter finds those mitts. Yep, mirrors out. Not getting that lamp.
Say you don't need it. That's a suggestion.
And Chex isn't going to get that tempered sword. Probably, very likely, our left side runners going to be lampless, but with a tempered sword. Our right side runner is going to be stuck on a master sword, but they'll have that lamp. Chex may be the only one to get those silvers, though.
I have a few troubles here with Icebreaker trying to get the position correctly.
I'm not entirely sure what he's doing wrong. Not familiar with the positioning of this sprite. I know in the normal Link sprite, you get kind of the position you want to be in is essentially having that shadow halfway on the door edge. Looks like Rywek's just going to give up on it and just go ahead and do the good old-fashioned Ice Palace bomb jump. Always good to have that as a backup.
Rywek was missing the second bit of it there, getting the one frame nudge back to the left after you get yourself covered with that block to push yourself over the barrier.
But like I said, the time loss here is more to failing the Icebreaker in the first place. The time difference just isn't as significant as you might think in a go mode situation. Meanwhile, Incoherent finishing up the Armos Knights. Chex can be our first runner into Misery Mire.
Second, actually. Walter down there in the bottom left's already in there.
Oh, there you go. Walter, you went in there. You
Sneaking
stuck
on in there. Not a Godmire today at all, it looks like. The big
nope.
Over on the right side. Another one too, where those silver arrows are going to come in handy for Chex. Does make quick work of her boss here. When we get R.
Oh, small key sitting there in the compass chest means the big key is vanilla. Hopefully Walter knows that and heads straight towards the cutscene.
I was heading right up those stairs.
Yep. Meanwhile, Rywek not checking anything in Ice Palace. No surprise. No reason to. He's got everything he needs.
I think Incoherent found the shovel actually somewhere there, going over to the dig spot just for the magical boomerang, decides to leave it sit on the ground.
Yeah, and Incoherent still without that hook shot.
Got no quick medallion making their way into Ice Palace. Unfortunately, won't be able to go mode this. Rywek drops into Cold Stare. That Fire Rod making quick work of things.
Yeah, when you get into trouble,
yeah. Gone.
Anytime you get into trouble against Cold Stare, pulling out that Fire Rod is really a good idea.
Pull it out, haphazardly throw fire splashes all over the place, and just kind of let them run into it.
Hopefully for Incoherent, he does think to look at follow those slippers to the hobo after he is done with Ice Palace. I'm having a little bit of trouble with the first Pen Gator room.
Rywek with 5 of the 7 crystals. Doesn't look like they've done Desert yet, actually, so they'll be able to loop in Misery Mire here with Desert at the same time.
And just as a side note, since this doesn't really matter, since Incoherent also is looking for that Quake Medallion, we do have a hookshot locked Ice Palace with that big key being available right away. Reason being that if you have the big key, behind the big key door, there are 2 locked doors that need small keys. So the game, assuming you're going to use the keys in the worst possible fashion, will not have a hookshot on the right side because you could open all the doors with the keys available in Ice Palace and isolate the area that you would need the hookshot for.
Good old-fashioned Ice Palace key logic, something you could probably write a dissertation on.
the key logic in this entire game, absolutely. Pod has some funny quirks in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mire with that small key, that small key in the compass room leading to the big key in the vanilla location, which we have today.
Still, none as confusing, I feel, though, as that Ice Palace stuff.
Yeah.
Walter pulling out the cape here on Viddy, going for some cape strats to make quick work of sword spins on the little eyeballs, slash only at the big one, and down.
He's only got 5.
Viddy.
Yeah, only has 5 arrows, so maybe he wants to save those. So yeah, not really a surprise.
Walter's 6th crystal, it looks like, of the evening. Ice Palace to go for them.
Yeah, and actually at this point, I would put Chex Human at a slight lead over Rywek here. That sword difference could come into play, although Chex with only 2 hearts right now going into the Vidi fight, that's a little bit scary. He does have those silver arrows, so he might be, so if he's careful, he should be able to make quick work.
Now here you're going to see the difference that Silvers does make. 1 shot with each arrow takes out each one of those eyeballs. Now we're going to get a 0 cycle here.
Yeah, very nicely done from Chex.
Eyeball, there he goes. And that right there is one of the also big reasons in the vanilla game you don't get silvers till after Vidi.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that, it looks like Chex is actually the first of our runners with 7 crystals in hand, and you know what that means.
Yeah. So start putting those numbers into chat. There are 22 locations in Ganon's Tower where the big key could be. Putting a guess 1 through 22. No bot for the quals. So all this is just for bragging rights.
Imaginary internet points.
Absolutely.
So where are you feeling that big key at today, Tracy?
I always like to say 5. A nice early number. Also one that I've gotten right before. So we'll stick with the number 5.
A good old-fashioned tried and true 14 usually puts us around Bob's chest area.
Also going to point out, Rywek does also need to do desert. That'll be a very quick bit of play after he finishes up over here in Misery Mire.
Gets through one of the harder dark rooms there in the game. The first room in the basement of Mire. Whole bunch of Medusas shooting at you. Having to find the one right spot to set that block to activate the switch, and sometimes it can feel like it's a little touchy.
Absolutely. All right, as Chex Human enters Ganon's Tower, and we do see Incoherent is going to go ahead and do that hobo check. We'll get that hook shot. Still needs to head into Swamp Palace to get that Quake Medallion. The last of our runners to get there. Hopefully that hook shot will make him think of Swamp Palace.
Hopefully that pushes Incoherent here in the right direction. You now have everything you need to do to complete Swamp. It's one of your more dense locations left. Or do you really want to go rock? But they don't have Bombos yet, so that really isn't an option for them at this point.
All right, so our first item in GT is just a big 20. We're going to walk right on by that. And Chex will head over into the Stalfos room. We'll see if he will mirror out and do the so-called Dark Magician strats. Really, the Pink Magician strats, since the Dark Magician actually requires you to go all the way to through the right side. And picks up a Tempered Sword, so that's very nice.
There's the mirror and heading to the right. So there's a Tempered Sword there sitting right off early on in GT for our runners. So that kind of minimizes a little bit of that advantage Rywek and Walther got by going left side swamp here.
Okay, 7 checks down. Still have not found the big key.
Walther making their way up the mountain. Rywek looks to be grabbing their Misery Maya crystal. Just has Desert Palace left. Or they're able to make their trip up the mountain.
Oh, this is interesting.
Oh, no.
Chex does not have a fire rod, so he's going to go to the right side and do the bomb jump that we were talking about earlier. A little surprised that he does this now and doesn't just bet on it being on the left side and not have to worry about this. So what he's going to want to do is clear out all the enemies of this room. The reason why he went into the other room before this is so... what he's going to do, he's going to do a bomb jump. He's going to light that torch. And then after that torch is lit, it'll take him back to, he'll fall down, take him back to that door up top. And he'll have enough time to go through and light the other torches with the lamp. This is tough because you got to avoid the hand, you got to avoid the Medusas. He does get the bomb jump, does fall down.
Ashes looks like on Incoherent side, they picked up their bombos, and unfortunately, it looks like they're heading right up the mountain to Turtle Rock.
That is unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. He is going to be able to full clear Turtle Rock, and that is not the right answer. Meanwhile, Chex does get through. Very nicely done with that lamp. Maybe thinking that no one else has the fire rod either, therefore he gets an advantage if this turns out to be the big key. Unfortunately for him, it is not. And Mirror's on now without even grabbing the small key that he could have grabbed. Hopefully that shouldn't be a problem, but because he's got 3 right now and there's 1 up the climb, but a little surprised he didn't grab that. So what does that put us?
11.
Yeah, thank you.
Checks.
Walter, on the other hand, has the fire rod and no lamp, so if he chooses to do the Dark Magician strats, he will not have any trouble doing the right side. And for him, that is a gold sword.
12 is 20 rupees there for Chex as Rywak takes down Lanmolis for their 7th crystal of the evening, making their way up the mountain towards GT now. Here for Chex is just 10 arrows. Continue on to Rando Room. Oh, Walther looks like they're taking the same path as well. Made their way over to the right side with that fire rod in hand.
Yeah, it makes a little more sense for Walter having the actual fire rod here. And it could be argued that that might be the whole reason that we got the fire rod is to go to the right side. Of course, it wasn't, since it turns out we don't need it. It does a nice little kick of the Samaria block there.
Right, 17 down on Chex' side. Still no big key to be found.
Interesting that Rywak's heading up to GT using the Super Bunny Cave in the Dark World. This is usually a little bit slower, but if you're able to do this more optimally, it might be for him faster. Also gives him a couple extra checks for things like silver arrows. We're interested to see if he enters into a Hookshot Cave.
Bob's just
nope.
10 bombs. That is nothing as well. We continue on.
Well, you know what chat's rooting for now.
I mean, we've made it this far. It may as well be 22, right?
Right.
Right, here we go. Number 19 coming up. 10 arrows, 20. 10 arrows, 21. There's the big key, number 21.
21.
Made it.
Sorry, guys. No tile room tonight. Also, very unfortunate Incoherent being sucked into Turtle Rock. Really, at this point, there's nothing he could find here that really helps him out. We know where all the swords are. We know not even red mail here. We've seen that elsewhere. So he's gonna go through this, and yeah, not gonna get what he needs.
Quick glance over the chat. Looks like Blackjack was the first one in chat to guess 21. Congratulations, sir. You win the internet points.
Actually, and not even actual real internet points because no bot, but definitely bragging rights.
Bragging rights and virtual pretend internet points?
Yeah, something like that.
How many different ways could I say pretend in the same way?
Yeah, exactly.
Pretend. Blackjack winning by guessing 21. Weird. Okay.
Oh, there you go. That's how. Yeah.
I see what's going on.
Yes, absolutely.
Their way in the gauntlet. A whole lot of rooms here with treadmills and BMOS and no fun enemies. Ice coming up, some spikes. A whole lot of not fun things.
Yeah, the most difficult part. Definitely the most difficult part of the GT climb. I'm pretty certain that's why the game gives you that bunny beam to go ahead and powder if you'd like at the end of it. Problem with powdering the bunny beam, if you take longer in this room, because it's part of the same super tile as the Landmo 2 room, Landmo will already start spawning while you're busy dealing with that bunny beam.
Messes up the initial spawn pattern there, so it usually doesn't work out too well for certain things. Chexile has to be careful on half of a heart.
Yeah, it might have been a good idea to go ahead and powder that bunny beam. I believe he may still have a blue potion or of some. He might have some sort of potion sitting there, ready to use if he needs it. And there is a heart pot here. So now he's at 1.5. So yeah, now we're okay.
1.5 hearts with red mail. Yeah, we can take another one single hit as long as you don't get bounced off at the same time.
Yep. This is a fairly safe part of the GT climb. You don't take you shouldn't be taking a ton of damage here anyway. And one of our trackers, SerioX, suggesting that he may have taken the fairy bottle off the pyramid, in which case he does have a fairy, and if he gets knocked out here, he will be fine. Again, shout outs to Duodeca and SerioX for doing the tracking, the hard work behind the scenes.
Definitely keeping us in track, and uh-oh, there we go. Chex falling there from the second torch room.
Yeah, this room is the worst part about not having a fire rod. A nice way to do it. Yeah, there's that bonk. Yeah, I was gonna say do that bonk to get around the little spark guys.
Also, not opting to. Oh, okay, there we go. Makes their way back there. Test for the key. Doesn't find one there. Still has to be careful.
Ooh, yeah, he needs.
Ooh.
he needs that key now.
Ooh. Oh. There it is.
Okay, let's see. Does he have a fairy?
Does have the fairy though.
He does have a fairy. Thank goodness. Oh my God, Chex.
Probably not where he would have liked to see you use that,
no,
especially
probably
this close
not.
to the refill.
Right before. Yeah, he says, you know what? I just used that fairy. I'm not even going to bother with the powder on the anti-fairy. Doesn't even pick up the magic refill, which frankly I think is the bigger thing he'd want. But with
does
Temper
have
Sword,
silvers though.
Yeah,
too.
Temper Sword and silvers, he should be fine. But wow, yeah, it's a pretty free refill. I'm not going to turn it down.
Has that powder, might not have actually even stepped foot into Skullwoods.
Oh, that is a good point. He doesn't have that power because he never did do Skullwoods, so he can't use that. So yeah, that fairy coming in very handy.
Avoid it. All right, on to a little bit of egonometry here. Last hurdle to cover before we make our way to our Ganon fight.
And Incoherent, having finished up all of Turtle Rock except Trinex, looks like he's headed towards the Smith Chain. Just does not want to go to Swamp Palace. Or maybe not. Maybe going up to the Bumper Ledge and doing some of the North Dark World checks. Still, not the right place to go. He needs to get himself over to Swamp Palace to get that Quake medallion.
Does have a number of checks you can route in together here. It's not a bad play by any means, but as far as we know with our knowledge, it's just unfortunately not the right one in this seed.
Yeah, and it's a real shame because Incoherent was the first of our runners to get those mitts, and I think those mitts really led him astray. He's been checking behind the mitts all over the place. Just whereas our other runners ended up in Swamp Palace before they ended up in the escape, at least 2 of them, and were able to avoid this. Meanwhile, Chex into the Ganon fight.
Okay, I just have to point out how at least I just found a little humor in that Walther checking our post-Mildorm chest there for an ice rod, just kind of casually sitting right there.
Well, if that just says that Trinex has nothing on him, I don't know what else does.
All right, Chex over here on into phase 3 already, it looks like. Down to of hearts, so we'll have to be careful. Fortunately, does have silvers and that tempered sword.
Yeah, he's past the dangerous part, the most dangerous part of the fight. Granted, things can still happen, but this is a much safer part of the fight than the earlier parts. That phase 2 is always the scariest part for me.
Especially when a bat can go off screen and later on come back on and be like, surprise, gotcha.
Yep.
Never fun. Silver arrows in hand, takes 1 shot there, gets Ganon, also does hit the torch glitch, so this should be
very nicely done.
Nothing but a God, I
Should
can't
get a
even
double
think the
here.
word I'm thinking of right now.
And it doesn't get much better than that for a Ganon fight. Very nicely done by Chex Human.
All that Chex has left is 1x3 bridge, separating himself from finding the Triforce and finishing in first with our restream runners in this final qualifier seed. There it is. Get your GGs in chat for Chex Human. Come across the line in 8th overall, official time of 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 52 seconds.
Walter in the Ganon fight.
Walter making their way into phase 3. Rywek there onto A2. Double there on the first one. Bill is straying farther and farther away from Swamp Palace, unfortunately.
Yeah, he is
Smith chain.
Everything but Swamp Palace.
Hopefully this Smith chain pushes him over there. You know, you're down here. You may as well at this point make your way into Swamp after turning this purple chest in.
Oh.
Hopefully.
Unfortunately for Walter, without the silver hours, is going to have to do this the hard way. Did not hit the torch glitch. Still very doable. He's got half magic. He's got plenty of magic to do this with.
Has to be careful hitting that second torch when Ganon comes down to the bottom. Don't want Ganon to pop up on top of you and knock you off.
And I do believe Walter also has a bottle of blue. Meanwhile, Rywek dropping in for his Ganon fight. So we have a couple of Ganon fights going on at the same time.
The left side runners without those silver arrows will have to do sword spins in the final phase. Fortunately, the butter sword takes the same amount of spins as our tempered sword in this last phase.
Yeah, here the difference between butter and temper, not a whole lot. For the best runners, it's not a whole lot at all. But this phase is not a whole lot for anyone.
Getting close here.
Yeah, and Rywek might even start to catch up. Okay, never mind. Walter finishes off Ganon.
Walters just has that 1x3 bridge separating them from finishing this final qualifier here. So coming across the line there in 10th overall official racetime.gg time of 1 hour 21 minutes 14 seconds.
Rywek in his sword spins in the last phase should be finishing up shortly.
It finally has made their way down towards Swamp Palace. Fortunately, that Quake Medallion is right up in the front. Able to grab that and get out right away and head on over to Misery Mire. Fortunately, pokes Ganon, freezing him there instead of being able to get a spin off.
All right, Rywek also finishing off Ganon. Right as Incoherent finds that Quake Medallion.
Here we go. Rywek crossing the line in 12th overall. Official race time at GG time of 1 hour 22 minutes and 25 seconds. Get your GGs in chat. And looks like we are actually joined by all three of our finish runners, Rywek, Walter, and Chex. GG, guys.
Yeah, GG's to all of you.
GG.
Okay, so at Swamp Palace and Escape. At one point we had our, what was it? Let me see if I can get this right. Our right side runners were looking for that Quake Medallion in the swamp, and poor Incoherent just managed to get it right now. Getting to that Swamp Palace late. Rywek and Walter, you were looking for the fire source and the mitts.
That took a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the worst go mode, but it took a while.
Yeah, well, mitts go mode. I think that's what hurt Incoherent. He was the first runner to get the mitts, and it kind of took him everywhere but Swamp Palace. But yeah, do you guys want to know? Funny thing is, if you kept going in Hyrule Castle, not that you needed it, there was a lamp sitting there in the basement.
Yeah, so I've heard. That would have been a little useful. I had so much trouble with some of my glitches and some of my dark rooms. Like, why is my spooky not working in Dark Mire?
Yeah, that can be a problem. And Walter missing the torch glitch.
Yeah, I think I was like half asleep at that point.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're off. What is this, like, super early in the morning or late? I don't know. You're I was a little surprised to see someone from your time zone joining a qualifier this late. But I guess it's the last one.
Yeah,
so
I
you
had
needed
to
it.
get in one last qualifier in order.
Walter, you didn't have a choice to participate.
So, but I think with this time I should probably be safe, top 60 now.
Depends on what that final calculation comes out to with our par times there. I suppose I may as well do a quick rundown of those top three since we haven't yet. Bonta finished first, 1 hour 12 minutes and 17 seconds. Andy was second, 1 hour 13 minutes and 32 seconds. And Zelga Deason third, 1 hour 14 minutes and 3 seconds. So 113 roughly, napkin math looks to be what our part time will be. Calculations there for you guys.
Not quite sure, actually, if that's going to be the part-time. Bonta, his score doesn't count.
Yeah, that's
Zelga's score doesn't count either. This is his 6th race. It's going to be like
Oh, really?
Andy, Jamie, and Ganon.
That's right.
Really, they throw out the times even if you. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
That does bump it down. Fourth was Jay Meisher there with 1 hour 16 minutes 36 seconds. And fifth, Ganon's Gone Wild, 1 hour 17 minutes and 37 seconds. That will bump it down a little bit there. I did forget about that.
Yeah, pretty decent finishes for all of you. I know, Rywak, you were pretty set. Looked like you were going to qualify. Walter, looked like you needed this one. So hopefully this will get you in. Checks, I couldn't find you. Is this? Have you done the qualifiers for? Or are you just doing this one for fun?
This is my first qualifier and my last.
Well, you put on a good show for us, so at least we have that. You had a very, very nice race there.
Thanks.
Well, hey, you won the restream, so that's that.
See, yeah, you got that bragging right.
Yeah, I'm
could always
pretty
buy-
psyched about that.
Yeah, you could always buy a ticket if you want.
Yeah.
There's still technically tickets available.
Yeah, there is. I believe there is.
I think there's 4 left.
4 or 5 last I looked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
better-
so
those-
there's a few spots there.
Yeah, if any of you are thinking of buying those tickets, I guess you better act soon.
I feel bad for those people that would get bumped by those tickets at the very end of the qualifiers.
I know that would be rough. But yeah, what other? Let's see, what else did we have in this one?
Where was Fire Rod?
Magic Bat with the powder and Skullwoods.
Oh, gee.
Yep.
All right.
But hey, you showed us the cool. Let's use the lamp to get to the right side of GT. So that was fun.
You even had time to do that? Jeez, my execution needs work.
It was not worth, but yeah.
I figured.
Go for it.
And some people, it looks like, got their nice silvers.
Silvers, I believe, were sitting off
Hookshot
in
Cave.
Hookshot Cave, the last chest.
Yeah,
How-
you weren't getting those.
Nope.
I mean, I suppose it could make it a little worse. Say that Chex didn't get that bond jump for the right side usage there, the first attempt either.
Mm-mm.
Fell off into the pit, unfortunately.
It's not an easy one. You gotta be wary of
Oh.
those fireballs and that Wallmaster.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But speaking of bomb jumps, Rywak ending up doing the the bomb ship and the ice palace.
Oh, please don't speak of this shame. I don't know what was going on. Like, why is this icebreaker not working? At some point, I just got frustrated. Well, fudge this. I'm gonna go do the regular way.
Hey, think of it this way. You need to stay in practice with that ice palace bomb jump because every once in a while you don't get to do the icebreaker. And
Nice.
I have won races to opponents that have not learned how to do the ice palace bomb jump because icebreaker not available. So think of it that way. You would just practice. Just say, you know what? I'm going to practice the ice palace bomb jump instead. That's all it was.
I'm old school. I'm old school. What can I say?
There you go. And Incoherent finally making his way up to GT.
Fortunately, it was thrown off the trace of that quick medallion hiding in Swamp Palace. I guess the good news was it was hiding in the first chest of Swamp Palace, so I was able to grab it and get out right away.
Honestly, I don't know if that would feel like... I don't know if that would make me feel better, you know, leaving it that long at that point.
Yeah. A little bit better, though, with it at least being your go mode, because you can grab it and leave.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's right, because two of you went into Swamp Palace and ended up full clearing, got your extra sword out of it, but yeah, not a whole lot else. Swamp living up to its reputation of always having a sword.
Yeah, a lot of good that did us. I mean, I forget where the other 3 swords were.
Well, the last one was in Ganon's Tower in Stalfos. I believe the second one was the dig game.
Yeah.
Trying to remember.
That's right.
Trying to remember where that first one was.
Following
Oh,
Kakariko.
right. In the well. Kakariko was blank pretty much, except for that well. You had what was it? The Moon Pearl, a sword, and something else was in
Mirror as well.
Mirror. Yeah, I think that was the third one.
Yeah, we had dark world access leaving.
Yeah, it was under 5 minute dark world access. That's always fun. And by fun, I mean, wow, there's so much I can check now.
Yay.
With that good old decision of, do I go into the dark world now? Do I not? Do I do everything else? What do I do?
Yeah, pretty much.
Definitely like when things get opened up, but then at the same time, it's just kind of like, well, there's too much. I didn't want decisions.
Yeah, it did make for a pretty easy no mode on commentary, although we weren't sure, you know. At one point, we thought we might be in the no mode, and then, of course, the Quake thing happened.
Like, what, 25 minutes almost? We were sitting there, we're
Yeah.
just like, well, we might have to be a no mode from our point.
You just got to see if that Quake's going to be needed, and of course, the sea said, nope, gotta find it. Gotta put you in Swamp Palace.
Yeah, I was definitely glad to see Quake being required for my ear, because otherwise, that swamp dip would have been pretty bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Felt the same way, but I also felt so much relief when I found that hook shot. It's like, yes, I will not be beaten by hoverers. And then Andy.
Andy probably hovered it anyway, so you know.
Oh yeah.
I kind of felt the same with
Actually,
the fire
no,
rod,
yeah.
because I'm not very good at that bomb jump over to the right side of Ganon's Tower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not a if you watch this, well, maybe you saw it. I'm not sure if at what point you guys were able to watch the restream because of the 20-minute delay, but
Not too much, but yeah, all my quals felt like, oh my god, what happens if this happens? Like, I think I had 2 hook shots where they weren't required for my quals. One of them was like, no bow is required if you know how to do that.
The mimic clip.
It's like so much panic and anxiety during an entire run because, like, oh god, all these glitches, why don't I know them?
As a non-hoverer myself, anytime I see Swamp Palace in as a pendant, I get anxiety unless I already have the hook shot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Feels yeah.
Definitely echo that. Just kind of cringe a little bit. That's why I want to go into the dark world and see that swamps and crystal. I'm just like, whew, sigh of relief. Thank God.
Oh, I just realized our boots were in Rando room. There's that green 20 there.
The junk fill item at the very least
Yep.
replaces the boots. That would mean that would be the boot where the boots would be sitting.
No, but it represents the boots.
Yeah. Just short few moments away from getting their big key. Oof. That mini Helmasaur did not want to play nice, unfortunately. That kind of poke your brain there a little bit, Rywek. Any thoughts or looks going forward here into the potential group stages for you at all? Of course, what happens and how things even themselves out?
Honestly, I do have one big fear. It's that when the groups are going to be decided, that I'm very low in that first group, because then I'll be paired with some of the ticket holders. And have you seen some of the names of those ticket holders that haven't participated? I'm like, I don't want them in my group. Please.
Oh, please do share.
Oh, well, there's Korek already in there. So that's always scary. I mean,
Yeah,
you got
name.
Jet.
That's it. Well, yeah, our last tournament winner.
Yeah, and then you've got Wall Kicks too. He's really strong.
Yeah.
So like there's 5 people who have not participated. Actually, there's more than that. Like there's a bunch of that haven't participated. Like these are like big names that haven't participated. I'm like, this is bad. So they will be paired with like somebody who's still strong and placed, like who really fought hard in these qualifiers, and yet like nope. Hey, you may think you're in the top of your group. Nope. Not happening.
Oh gosh, look at you. Yeah, this is going to be a fun tournament. Yeah, over especially over such a short period of time. Going to be some really fun matchups then.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Files is down there as well.
Oh yeah, so many peeps.
And then not to mention the people near the top of the rankings where it could land you with as well.
Yeah, and I do believe Azure signed up for a ticket as well, so that's another good name too that you gotta watch out for.
Not that guy. Jeez, Azure. He's a great guy.
Well,
Wonderful Canadian.
He was planning to play in like 5 different tournaments, so you might get lucky on that front.
Azure, if you're listening, please drop out the past.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, but those ticket holders definitely could make for an interesting seating when it comes to the group stages here. That's for definitely sure.
Absolutely.
I know one person I wouldn't mind going up against, but I don't know how likely that'll happen. That would be Bonta. That Bonta. He's the one who booted me out of the French tournament in the finals.
Oh, well, maybe you get that rematch.
I need that revenge. That sweet, sweet revenge.
It's a pretty free matchup anyways, right?
Oh yeah, totally, right?
No, I mean, I've always seen him every time I've commentated one of these, like at the top of the standings, At the finishes.
He win every time.
To having came through, I believe the French qualifiers will be one of those top seeds as well.
Mm-hmm.
Young, Ellison, as the other 3 will be getting in on virtue of winning the international qualifiers. But you, Walter, any thoughts or predictions or just anything in general looking forward into a potential group stage berth there?
I haven't even read the rules yet, so that's probably be on my agenda.
Well, I do believe, I know this will come as a shock, we're still going to be doing open boots.
I think the only thing I know wasn't it gonna be standard boots in the groups? But maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
I thought I heard someone talk about that, but I could definitely be wrong about that.
I'm not sure. I think we'll be seeing in a couple of days an official document or posting of what it's going to be.
All right, meanwhile, Incoherent making his way up to Aga 2.
Pulling off a very nice triple there on the first pattern. Double on the second. I think I might have actually had one being eaten there on the first one. So 2-2-2.
I think I'm gonna bow out. It's 5
Yeah.
a.m. here right now,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, go get some sleep, Walter.
Yeah.
GG's again.
yeah, GG's everyone.
GG's all. Good luck to everyone.
All right, Incoherent gonna drop into that Ganon fight. Tempered Sword Silvers should be pretty quick.
Slashes in phase 1, 12 slashes in phase 2, and then it's 4 in the third, and 4 silver arrows in the final phase. Ignoring that trident swing there in the second. Ganon going on up into the friendly corner, just can kind of sit up here and continuously do sword spins. Off of there. Like that, we're off into phase 3. Down Ganon continuing to warp on in there. He stops for his third hit. One phase left here for Incoherent. Off that first silver's hit, doesn't quite get the torch glitch, but does have silvers, does have half magic. Shouldn't be too much of an issue here at this point. There's number 3, one more to go here. Dash poke, but does get the slasher. There is number 4. All that Incoherent has left is the good old 1x3 bridge, separating them from finishing here in this final SG Live qualifier. There it is, across that bridge, coming in 31st place overall with an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 21 seconds is Incoherent. Get your GGs in chat for all of our runners.
Yep, tough run for Incoherent, having hard last location, that Quake medallion, but did stick it out and finish it off.
Wait for Incoherent to pop on in here with us. We'll just do a quick rundown here of the top 10. Bonta ended up in first, Andy was second, Zelgadis in third, Jay Meisher fourth, Ganon's Gone Wild fifth, In the Name of DT was sixth, Gamachu seventh, Chex Human again was eighth, Solsky in ninth, and Walther in 10th.
And GG's to all our runners that have participated, not just in this qualifier, but all the qualifiers throughout the last couple weeks.
We are joined by Incoherent. GG's.
GG. Dead last, by the way.
Yeah, we weren't going to share that. But you stuck it out, so Swamp Palace, huh?
So here's the thing. I had 4 qualifiers done, and they're all fairly consistent, and I couldn't help my score that much unless I guess if I went really big brain and got the right things to happen, then maybe. So I got the fire rod early and went, okay, people are not going to have this early, and maybe not at all. Let's just chase it and see what happens. And of course, chasing it was exactly the wrong answer. And so I am in Turtle Rock, and finally I start seeing finishes and go, I have screwed up. It is somewhere I should have been.
Well, Swamp Palace, not the nicest place, but you were actually the first of our restream runners to get those mitts, and I think that might have kept you away from Swamp Palace. At least 2 of our runners got full cleared Swamp Palace before ever going to the escape.
Yeah, I can see that. As I'm doing Ice Palace, this was my last crystal that I could do at that point. I'm going, okay, so if I didn't have the Fire Rod, I would absolutely be going to Swamp Palace right now. So let's do the opposite of that, because I've already at this point died to Mothula and forgotten how to count in Hera and, you know, stuff like that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I know, sometimes you big brain, this happens.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's randomizer. You know, things happen.
And apparently enough people managed to have good results in this qualifier that I am now on the outside looking in unless people drop, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, that's too bad. We were just talking about tickets still on sale, so there's one other way in, but yeah, well, a little bit of a shame, but it happens.
Whatever happens, happens. I wouldn't have expected to get further than the groups anyway. Just run into Linlinlet or somebody and just get obliterated.
All about just showing up, doing your seed, and having fun. And I guess aside from that, as long as you had fun competing, I mean, what else? It's nothing too much else that could be said there, I suppose, right?
Yeah, like the early game was kind of interesting because you got a lot. Like even without the myths, you could route a bunch of things together with the mirror you couldn't otherwise do. And I'm just like, okay, how do I do this? This is a cross keys route.
Yeah, well, the 5-minute Dark World access.
Like, yeah, I'm killing blind at like the 13-minute mark, and I have mirror.
Almost got to a situation there where there was too much to do too soon. I almost feel like.
Yeah, you always worry with seeds like that.
What do you do?
Like, the thing is in one place, and if you don't do the one place, you are just incredibly screwed. And I was worried that was just the bow, and that was go mode. If you could hover, which I can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess you were pretty late to the hook shot.
Yeah, I was trying to work out whether ice was hook locked, which I don't think the boss is.
It was hook locked. It's either the whole thing is hook shot locked or not. That big key being available allows keys to be used badly because there are 2 locked doors behind the big key door. So yeah, you see that big key available without the hook shot, you're automatically hook locked.
But it was big key and small key available, so you could have, if you go right, it's key for key, and then if you go to the boss, you can get to the boss.
Oh yeah,
you only have to use the one key, and you get the other key from that.
There's no such thing as hard hook shot locked. It's just logical hook shot locked. So the game is assuming that you use your keys in the worst possible way, because you can get to those 2 locked doors behind the big key door. You can theoretically use all your keys in a very bad way.
But you don't need them because you have the cane. So having a big key and a small key available means you can use the cane to get to the boss. Again,
it being available doesn't matter. You still can get to those doors. So it's still logically hookshot locked. But
yeah, I'm with Tistu in chat. I think the boss was hook locked. Not that it mattered because the boss had a key. I knew that. And there wasn't anything behind it.
No, okay.
Like I was trying to figure out whether the hook was in GT.
I'll beg to disagree with both of you because it's not about whether you can get there or not. It's just about whether you can use your keys stupidly. But as I said earlier, there's no such thing as an actual hookshot lock dungeon. There's always a way around it.
Yeah, that's true. I just wanted to know whether it was in GT or not.
Yeah, that's reasonable. And
then I found it right after, and I'm like, okay, that's really.
So it was good that you said, okay, I'm right here. Let's go check that hobo.
Goes with that though. Do you have any other final thoughts here for us Incoherent about the seed, the qualifiers in general, what we might see with SG Live going forward? Just anything at all here from you?
Too many deck qualifiers. Come on, give us the terrible seeds. That way, someone who's like 8 to 10 minutes down on execution like me has a chance.
No. we'll work on that for next year.
So blitz mode.
Oh jeez.
Oof.
How about you, Ryrick? Any final closing thoughts at all for us tonight?
No, but I am certainly looking forward to SG Live, man. When is it? It's tomorrow. It starts tomorrow, right?
No.
Oh.
No. groups look to be the round robin of 5 people. It will start between November 7th and November 12th. 4 matches per person. And after that, brackets of 32 people. Our best one single elimination battle will happen between November 13th and 15th. We have a little ways to wait before we do unfortunately get to SG Live runs for you.
But it should be a lot of fun once it is one of the featured tournaments. So we're going to see a lot of good Link to the Past randomizer races, I think, coming up for that.
Ask me, definitely kind of exciting because we are doing it remotely. We might see a few more runners in participating in it than we normally wouldn't see.
Yeah, definitely a shame that the in-person event did not happen. I was planning on attending, but the upside is that we do get a lot more people that get to be involved in the tournament. So that's a very good thing.
Tit for tat, you have your trade-offs, and yes, it does just expand the potential participant pool on this one, if you do ask me. So it's promising to be pretty fun and pretty exciting going forward, especially with all the runners that we do have that have participated and got their 5 qualifiers in, purchased tickets. We named a few of them off earlier, so it promises to be a stout field. Just taking a quick glance over everything here.
Yep. All right, so I think that's pretty much going to do it for us. I'd like to thank everybody. Thank our restream runners, Rywek, Walter, Incoherent, and Chex Human. I'd like to thank our trackers in particular, SiriUX and Duodeca, for doing the hard work behind the scenes. If you're out following all those people, please do so. Our tracker SiriUX having put the commands in chat above, and Duo putting them in again. And of course, my co-commentary, Spy Weaver. Thank you so much for joining me, Spy. It was a blast commentating with you. And thank you, of course, SpeedGaming for putting this whole thing. And I will let you close this out.
Definitely always a blast to hop up in here and do some commentating with you, Tracy. It was an enjoyable evening here on my end. On that point, be sure, like Tracy said, follow all of our Restream runners. It's definitely not easy being on Restream, especially when it is a kind of, I guess you could say, a big race, an SG Live qualifier like it was. So be sure to go ahead and give them some love. They do appreciate it, as well as our trackers keeping us straight and doing the hard job behind the scenes for us. Just with that, be sure to keep your eyes as well on the SpeedGaming family of networks and their schedules. If you want to see any other Link to the Past randomizer or anything else that SpeedGaming does have going on, we are getting into the tournament season. There's plenty coming up for you. So be sure to keep your eyes on that schedule and see what we do have coming up. And for that, thanks to everyone over at SpeedGaming for having us. This has been a Link to the Past randomizer SpeedGaming Live qualifier. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and we'll catch you all next time.